Aftermath. I can't believe we're still doing this, guys. Genuinely, thank you for continuing to watch these. If it wasn't for the engagement I was getting in the comments, I'd probably keep doing it, but I'd feel like it was a waste. And right now I don't feel like it's a waste. It's a thing I genuinely look forward to doing every week. If you don't know what this is, we are doing a week-by-week chapter-ish breakdown of Chuck Wendig's Aftermath. You can go ahead and click on the thing, and it'll take you back to the beginning of the series. I'd love to have you kind of go through with this too. You can do this at any point. I'm more than happy to talk to you in the comments at any point. So don't feel like if you're finding this later that you missed out on any kind of opportunity. With that, let's get into today's reading. We're looking at the 9th interlude on Terrace, and also chapter 25 and 26. So this interlude here is one of the interludes I've been the most excited to talk about. It's one of the interludes that has stuck with me the most since reading the book. And a big reason for that is because it takes place on the planet of Taurus. If you're not familiar with the planet of Taurus, it is the first world in the Knights of the Old Republic video game series, or video game, not the series, but the very first game. You spend a large portion of time on Terrace, and in RPGs like that, usually the first world is boring and dull, and I gotta be honest, I've always loved playing on Taurus every time. If you're interested, I did stream Knights of the Old Republic a ways back. It was I was forced into my first Dark Side playthrough. That might be interesting for you guys if you want to at least check out the game and see what it's about. First off, it just re-canonized one of my favorite planets. Taurus is kind of like a Diet Coruscant. It's another world that is covered in a city, but it has a lot of ties to lore, especially the Old Republic lore in Star Wars. What I appreciated about this is the planet is described as being in rubble. Now, in the Old Republic, the planet gets blown to... Well, the planet, it doesn't get Alderaan. It's not blown up, but it's war-torn. The city's destroyed. The planet-wide city is destroyed. Now, I'm sure that it being in rubble some 2,000 years after that event would have occurred isn't the same event that would have caused whatever city they're part of Terrace that they're in to be in rubble. But still, it just felt right to be on Terrace with it in rubble, and I can just kind of in my own headcanon imagine that, and I liked that. What else was really interesting about this is what's going on there is you have this cult, this dark side cult that's buying a lightsaber from a junk trader. It's just there are these group of people that basically worship Darth Vader. They're trying to find Darth Vader's lightsaber. They get a lightsaber. They hope that it's actually Darth Vader's, and they don't know, and this is like whether or not it is one is a big point. It's just really, really interesting because it shows you that there were some people in the galaxy that knew who Darth Vader was and knew that he was really that powerful and kind of understood what that was, and that they kind of formed these other smaller groups. And I really like that we see this kind of stuff in these interludes. I've said before in some other videos that I really like seeing these dark side cultists, especially seeing somebody like Tashu on the Imperial Council, especially seeing characters like Chirrut in Rogue One and that sort of thing. To kind of see these dark side cults is really interesting to me. So that was just something kind of cool, and it shows you how rumors continue to spread in the aftermath of Return of the Jedi. Moving on to chapter 25. It starts with Sinjir, Timon, and Bones trying to escape the comm station they're in. So they were broadcasting a propaganda message, and now the Empire has found them, and they're trying to get away. And Sinjir's preparing for a battle, Bones is preparing for a battle, and Timon spots an escape route out the top of the building, and it turns out, for the brief period of time that the rebels had control of this building way back in the day, remember Brenton, Timon's father, was a rebel on this planet. For the brief period of time that they held this building, they put in all these escape routes, and Timon kind of has this moment where he's like really proud that he found this rebel escape route, and that he's really proud that he gets to like escape from the tunnel like his dad might have done, but then remember that he also kind of hates the rebellion. So this is kind of Timon's inner struggle, that he actually really respects the rebellion, he really respects what his father did, he really respects what his mother did, but the thing that they did is what took them away from him, and he resents that. So all this time, he's been pushing away at his mother, like, you left me, you abandoned me. But here we kind of get an idea that the core of this struggle for Timon is that he really can't hate them for it, because it was a good thing and he does understand that, but it's also hard for him. And he's just a kid. It's hard for me as a younger-ish, I guess I'm an adult, but whatever, kind of going through and trying to rectify that, even more so for a young teen to try to juggle those two things. And that was really interesting to kind of get some more insight on Timmon's perspective and the way it's written, because of course Timon can't really tell us how he's feeling because he doesn't know. So it has to be revealed through a type of narration that hints to us in a way for us to understand, even though Timon doesn't really understand yet himself. The other really exciting part of this chapter is Mr. Bones versus a TIE fighter, because he jumps into the air and attacks one. And let's just say the TIE fighter didn't win, because that's how Mr. Bones operates. Anyway, at the end of the chapter, Sloane sees Nora coming. So Nora is still in another TIE fighter at this point that she had stolen in a previous chapter. Her plan is to destroy all the escape vessels that all the personal vessels that the Imperials on this council have. And if she can wipe them out, then they're stuck and they have a better play against the Imperials. Sloane sees her coming and shoots at her with a turbo laser, and we're left at the end of this chapter seeing Nora begin to crash. So chapter 26, what we figure out in chapter 26 is that Nora has succeeded in destroying all of the ships except for one that was able to take off and get into space before all of the crashing happened. So she's been mostly successful, but the Imperials do still have a way out. What we get then is the kind of aftermath crew. You get Tim and Cinder and Bones. They go back to this bar that has shown up a couple of times in the book. It's kind of their meeting grounds. Jazz shows up and she delivers the terrible news that she does not believe that Nora has survived the encounter. So Timon, just as he kind of starts to understand what he's going through, now has to deal with he believes that he's lost both of his parents. As to whether or not he has, I've probably told you already, but if I haven't, I won't tell you until next week. And then we get into a final kind of big thing amongst the Imperial Council. The Imperial Council now knows their ships are destroyed, and Shale and Dandelion Guy are really, really getting into it. They're really starting to argue. Sloane kind of has taken control of this meeting in a way that really impresses Dandelion, and Sloane's not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Because Sloane finally puts her foot down, and instead of waiting for the council to make this decision, she's like, no, this is what we're going to do. We're going to finish up, and we're going to leave on What's-His-Face's ship, because it's the last one that's left, and we're going to go, and we're going to get out of here. She really kind of steps up and becomes this leader that they don't have, even though that's what she's been avoiding doing. Not out of meekness herself, but out of a desire to have a council. She kind of figures out it's not going to work, and she kind of takes control of the room. That's kind of where they're at, and then it really ends with Sloane running out. Actually, this might have been, this was actually in the previous chapter, I'm sorry, but this is part of the Imperial storyline. Back in 25, she had gone out to see the wreckage of the crashes, and realizes that the city is starting to really rise now, that this crash on top of this palace, this very public destruction, has sparked the crowd, and now they're getting ready to storm the gates, and they're climbing up buildings, and Sloane has to go back inside because she's worried that somebody might take a sniper pot shot at her. And so this is the mess the Imperials are in. They have one ship to escape on. They have to get out before the entire city of like 1 million people, and that's just like a number from the book, it's like 1 million people might storm this one castle. And that's kind of where we get left at. This was mostly more plot-y. I think the big thing was really getting into Timon's mind and kind of breaking down the complexities he has right now. Dealing with being mad at his mother, but missing his mother, and needing his mother, but not needing his mother, and his end. We've heard Nora's end over and over and over again. And Tim's has been very kind of touch and go because he hasn't really expressed himself in any way other than frustration. And so now he's finally starting to do it. And he's got kind of a harder road ahead of him now. So we will pick this up next week and discuss this further. We're going to start next week with another interlude, and this is another one of the interludes I've been really excited to talk about. It's just simply called Hyperspace. So it's interlude 10. We're going to read chapter 27, and then we're going to read interlude 11, which is on Coruscant. So it's going to be an interlude, a chapter, and then an interlude. And I think that'll be enough because that's 2 interludes there, and I usually have more to say about the interludes than anything else. So that's where we'll go, and we'll be 3/4 of the way done with the book at that point. So we're trucking right along, and we got exciting stuff ahead. So again, thank you for watching the series. It's meant a lot to me. Please leave a comment telling me what you think so far. If you're not already, please follow us at Port Haven Forums on Twitter and visit port-haven.com for even more. And I will catch you next week.